In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie.
Check us out every single Friday from here on out, especially when we're on tour with Alice Cooper coming up in just a couple weeks. And paving the way, they're the tour dates, Alice Cooper and, of course, Ace Frehley. We've been talking about him, Billy. But you know what?
Good.
That's so much in the future. That's way in the future that we're talking with Alice and Ace going out, because presently, right now, tonight in Minnesota, Buckcherry is rocking the house, and they're on tour. They're the brave pioneers going there. Look at that. Good shit. Relic amps, dude.
Yeah.
Look at that. Is that you and Stevie D right there?
Yeah, and Francis in the background there, pounding the drums.
Nicely done. Do you actually relic your cabinets as well?
No, those are naturally relic through the years.
Beautiful.
I've had those since like '88.
Go back to that picture if you can, Vic. Look at those.
Of course, Gear Geeks always notice that stuff. I love it,
dude. Honestly, we were talking about that the other day because that's what we're diving into now.
Right.
Gear Geeks and Equipment Freaks. A relic like cabinet. It hasn't been done yet, and we could be the first people to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe what we have ideas, folks. We have lots of ideas pumping together, and that's what we're here to talk about. Is Billy Rowe's guitar company called Rock N'Roll Relics. What got you into being a guitar luthier?
Well, this was super natural progression for me. But I built a guitar in high school, and I was always into tinkering with guitars. And after high school, of course, Jetboy started, but I would I had an old Strat and I painted it hot pink and put a mirror guard on it and, swapping out pickups. And through the years, I was just kind of into doing my own thing with just certain guitars until I found that Gretsch White Falcon. It really was until I think moved back to San Francisco after the LA stint with Jetboy ended. And in the 90s, I just started doing the same thing, building some parts guitars for fun. And eBay comes along, and you start seeing this relic guitar thing happening on a real small level, just like small builders selling stuff on eBay. Really, I remember it was Nash Guitars, which, if you know Relic stuff, he's one of the first guys to be out there doing it. So I started building a few, and I threw one on eBay, and it sold, and just slowly just turned into Rock N'Roll Relics. I built a website, and I had no plans of doing what I'm doing right now. It all just organically happened.
Well, I definitely had you relic a couple of my guitars over the years. Yeah, and so many of them actually. The SG is great. The Billy Joe Armstrong Les Paul Jr. that I have is reliced by you as well.
Right.
A couple Les Pauls that you've done over the years. The thing is, I'm imagining that in high school. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You were in wood shop, and you made it. It was probably an elective, and you used it. You got it to get a good grade and stuff. You got an easy A and stuff like that because you made a guitar. I made a wooden bowl. That was it. I think I carved out a wooden bowl, and it was really crappy, but I still own it to this day, and it weighs about 20 pounds. But at least you made a guitar, something functional and nice. Rock N'Roll Relics is now gotten to the point where you're making guitars for like some super big names, and Dragon, there's Chris putting it in there right there, being one of the names that you have played with and built a guitar for.
Right.
One of those models. What's it like building a guitar for, let's say, a guy like Dragon or Billy Joe Armstrong, the guy that now we grew up kind of listening to, or maybe he was a little bit younger. He's more into the punk scene, but like now you're building guitars for him. What's your relationship like with him, and how did that all come about?
That all came about going back to the Plunkets. The singer of the Plunkets, Patrico, is very close with Mike Dirnt, the bass player at Green Day. And so I met him through him coming to Plunkett show, and he saw my stuff, and he just said, Billy Joe would love your stuff. And he sent him my website and hit me up and bought a guitar and started following me on Instagram. He's just been a huge supporter and a fan of what I do. And really once he came on board with Rock N'Roll Relics, it really jumped a big level for me. So
yeah. Well, I remember you had guitars. You had relic guitars for me. already, but then you had Gilby Clark. You did a model for Gilby
Yeah,
Clark, right?
Gilby, yeah.
And Bruce Kulick as well.
Yeah, we did something with Bruce.
And I remember Mike saying something to me about Billy, saying, Billy's a shredder at heart. Yeah, we're a punk band, but he can also shred. But he never really, he rarely shows that side of his playing.
Yeah.
Now, have you ever listened to him shred in front of you?
He's a great guitar player, and he's a huge fan of like our era of the LA scene, because he's a few years younger.
Right.
And so him and Mike Dern have been playing together for years, and Green Day started off doing like Def Leppard covers and Kiss covers from like the non-makeup era, So he's a fan of the Crew and Rat and that whole genre, and then of course the punk rock he got into, and that's a whole nother thing. But I remember when he's got a guitar shop in Oakland called Broken Guitars, and when I delivered one of the early ones he got, and we just clicked talking about how great the guitar tones on Def Leppard's High and Dry are, and that's probably some of the best rock tones on recorded.
Well, it's basically an AC/DC record on steroids. That's Mutt Lange taking like all the experience and all the beauty of the AC/DC records that he had done, and then putting it into this, infusing it into this youthful band that's just like fucking out of the gate. Let's do it. Let's fucking rock. And it's just such a perfect album. That is my favorite Def Leppard album of all the albums. I must say, it's to me, it's like songs, everything, just straight ahead rock and roll. It's before I get it. The era after that was magical. It was huge, Pyromania, Hysteria, all those things, the production, the background vocals. But this, if you want straight ahead fucking rock and roll, it's either High and Dry or On Through the Night. Those two albums just are like fucking killer. No doubt about it. But I you can't say anything bad about the later era stuff as well, because when Phil came in to the band, he took it up and took it up to a different level, and now now with God, I forget now who's all in the band now. Is Vivian in the band?
I think Vivian's in the band. Yeah, I think they have a list of former members now too.
Yeah, so it's now it's a little bit more like, oh shit, these guys are fucking real musicians. Everybody playing in the band, they're really accomplished. Whereas like High and Dry was still a little bit punky, a little bit edgy, a little bit like there might be some wrong notes here and there. And, I like all of that. I like it. I like polishing it, but then buffing it out, like relicing it. Exactly what you do at Rock N'Roll Relics.
Perfect way. You got to have a little rough edges in the music. Can't be too perfect.
Like making something like, really nice and beautifully burst, like a nice burst finish, but then spray painting over it, some crazy like white sort of yellowish color, but then fucking it all up and sanding it all down. Holy folks, what is that? What is that?
Holy shit.
There you go, folks. There's your Easter egg right now. We're looking right now live into the Rock N'Roll Relics guitar paint studio, and this is what they're making right now. Can you freeze it, Vic, if it's possible to freeze it with just the picture of the front of the guitar? There you go. Thank you very much, Vic. Folks, right there, that could be COVID burst. Maybe that's what we'll call this finish on this guitar. I don't really know if I want that, but folks,
no, it'll be COVID free, but
this is the guitar. You could see it being painted right now. That is going to be my first Rock N'Roll Relics original, because Billy, this is your original fucking design. Tell us about it and tell us where the inspiration from it came.
This one came from there's a somebody I became friends with through, of course, like the Instagram world and the internet world, named Dave Kerr. And he's a designer. He's from England, but he lives in China now. He works for a toy company or something. But he had some ideas, and at the base of this design, he had sketched out, line drawn, like, and he hit me up. He goes, "I'd love to, see you do this, even if it's a one-off for me." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm totally into it. Let's work together on this." And I think I did like one tweak on the upper horn, and then came up with the headstock, and so we matched our designs up. And
what are you calling that design?
It's called the Revenge model.
Okay.
Yes.
So this will be Roxie's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. That guitar that you just saw, folks, is being built as we speak, so that I can hopefully, fingers crossed, I can take it. It'll be ready by the time this tour starts, and I can take it out there and play it on a nightly basis. And you guys can all see it when you're out there on tour. That's amazing.
It's finished being painted. And so, yesterday the Seymour Duncan showed up. So we have the pickups. They're zebras. So everything is
zebra striped pickups, Seymour Duncan pickups. What kind of neck were you able to get on it? Were you able to get that Gibson scale, or what kind of style was it?
Oh, on the actual neck of the guitar?
Yeah,
that's a Gibson scale. I mean, it's that, and it's a compound radius, so it's a little bit flatter.
Okay.
Than what you would have, but you're really not going to notice it much. It's minimal.
Compound radius is one of those like sort of buzzwords that guitar players love to hear with the neck. So compound radius, because it's easier to go up the neck, and right?
Yeah, it gets a little
supposed
flatter.
to be.
Yeah, so for bending, it's going to be a little easier and a little more fluid,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to use? What else do I have to say? The finish, because what you folks saw was basically just a spray painted yellow guitar, but I gave you a little bit of clues in between. Before that, it was there's a bit of a tobacco sunburst. And what are we going to be doing? We're going to be relicking all that off, so it looks like a
you'll see the burst underneath. So we'll do it in the spots where your arm would wear out the finish and stuff like that. So the top coat's really thin, and we'll do we'll do some stuff around the knobs, from spinning them on and off, and it's going to be
if
good.
You want a guitar to look as that sort of ages with you, Rock N'Roll Relics is the perfect company to go to, because you can see that the guitar is going to look like you've already been playing it for a while, and I love that. It's got that worn-in feel, and of course, Mick Cripps is going to fucking want it right now. Maybe even Mick Cripps saw it. He's does Mick actually like play any of your guitars as well?
He does not have any.
Okay, not yet.
Mm-mm.
He hasn't seen Roxie's Revenge yet, though, dude.
No, but I like that idea of the name, don't you?
Roxie's Revenge. It named itself. On this show, we just named this guitar. That particular guitar has to be Roxie's Revenge, don't you think?
I think so.
I think we've just done it. And if anybody wants to check out more of Billy's designs and all that kind of stuff, because we are going to sort of wrap things up a little bit. I'm not saying we're going, so don't go away just yet. But I want to get everybody Billy's contact info of how to get in touch with him. So Billy, for the people that are listening on the audio broadcast, tell them how to get in touch with you and Rock N'Roll Relics.
Well, the best is to go to the website, rocknrollrelics.net, and then from there, you can venture off into the Instagram, Facebook, and all that. That's really all I use for the guitars is Facebook and Instagram. Instagram being the main one, so that's pretty easy to find. R&R Relics.
And then you have a few others that Vic just put in there as well. I've been trying to find it, Billy Rowe 66. I couldn't find it all week trying to promote this show. So,
I'm active on. I'm trying to get it more active, but I think that's where it comes up in the search when you're a little more active.
Well,
so I'm trying.
Just go to Rock N'Roll Relics, and you know what? And maybe in about a month's time, you can just Google search Roxie's Revenge, and it won't be me having indigestion. It'll be me with a nice guitar.
We paint that on the back, Roxie's Revenge,
We'll figure out something. We'll figure out something for it. Dude, I'm excited. I'll see you in a couple days. I mean, you guys got the show tonight. You guys got the tour. How much longer does the Buckcherry? Oh wow, you got links for days. How many?
Bunch of links. Now that's it. Yeah, the Buckcherry links, the Jetboy links, Rock N'Roll Relic links, and then the personal ones.
Jesus. Okay, folks.
All right.
It's been a little bit of an infomercial for Billy Rowe in the last couple minutes. You can go back and check out all those links. But all you really need to know is Rock N'Roll Relics, because that's the one that I know that all your designs are on. You want to check out all the different types of guitar designs that he's done, and as well as all the relicing that he does as well. So if you're a guitar player out there, Billy Rowe is your guy. Honestly,
I'm Ryan Roxie, and I've taken all my years of experience of playing guitar, and I want to pass the torch of rock and roll on to you. Check out the System 12 Guitar Method.